Alrighty, so that was a lot.
Yeah.
All right, but we are very, very
Drum
excited
roll.
to introduce our brand new Arizona Department of Real Estate Commissioner, Louis Dettorre, right?
That's right.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I was hoping I was going to get that right. So we
Glad you didn't ask me. No.
Right on the money.
I want to just start off with Todd. For a lot of us, especially a lot of us new to real estate, we have no idea that we even have a commissioner of real estate here in Arizona and what the commissioner does.
Sure.
And then I think the natural assumption is when we get mad at another agent, we're going to call up the commissioner and we're going to let the commissioner have it so that he can get involved and go fight for me. But what does your office do? And give us a snapshot of who you are and your
Sure.
experience.
Please.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, I really want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. I've been appointed by Governor Ducey. I think it's been about 3 weeks now, but many may not know that I've actually worked at the Department of Real Estate for almost 10 years under Commissioner Judy Lowe. And during that time, just a lot of different responsibilities. When I first started at the department, I had a role where I really was working in our legislative affairs and doing some operational items and program development and engagement and communications. And over time, it developed into being the deputy commissioner for the last about six years, and under that, and the second in command, and had the opportunity. Todd, you and I worked on a host remote work group, if you remember, during the height of the pandemic, trying to put a solution around how are agents going to be able to do continuing education courses? Everyone's at home, and what are the options, and what is the statutes and what the rules say that we can do? So we put that program together, and you were instrumental in helping with
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Dwayne Fouts has assisted the department in putting together substantive policy statements, is on our broker work groups. And
I'm not familiar with Dwayne. Who's Dwayne?
So, and Mike, I don't know if you remember, but it's probably been a couple of years, but your mastermind events have always been fantastic. Commissioner Lowe always enjoyed going to those, and I was pleased to tag along. Cool. So I guess I just want to make it known that I may be an unfamiliar face, but I have been in the background in supporting Arizona's 91,000 real estate licensees, 15% increase since 2015, if you can believe it. Dang. And those figures I took a note around the population increase in Arizona, 83 to 100,000 population increase over the last year. That was in the presentation slides. That's been consistent over the last several years because Arizona is seen as a place to come and start a family, work, retire, and I don't see how that will not continue. So, as you said, Todd, unless there's something that's unforeseen and outside of our control, but Arizona really is a great place to be. So what does the Department of Real Estate do? We license and we regulate Arizona real estate professionals that are doing real estate activity, but we also do many other things as well. So we license and we oversee. We receive complaints that come into the department. So that instance where there's a real estate licensee who has a bad interaction with another real estate licensee comes to the department and says, I had a very challenging situation and wants to fill a complaint. And they want to know, what do I do? Our responsibility is to investigate that complaint, determine if it's within our jurisdiction. If it's not, a lot of those issues that come into the department are not within our jurisdiction. And we may say, have you contacted your broker for a solution to this? Have you contacted the Arizona Association of Realtors if it's an ethics or a contractual related item too that's outside of our scope? But if it is within our jurisdiction, that's something that we'll investigate too. We also, if you believe it or not, we approve public reports for subdivisions or communities where there is a subdivision. 6 or more lots or parcels are required to have a public report which stipulates different things within that are offered in the community, like the sewer, where are the schools, are the roads finished, all those other amenities within the community.
I have a patent easement that needs to go away.
A utility easement, maybe.
And that may be something for the city or local government. But certainly, we have approved and have received a 10-year high of those applications for development. So again, in the prior slides reflecting just to match numbers, 23 to 25,000 new homes being built per year.
No, we're good.
Oh,
Yeah, a little
sorry.
closer.
Sorry about that. When the previous presentation, 23 to 25,000 homes being delivered per year, those are often in new developments, or that's someone that owns 6 or more and is getting a public report. It's up to the department to ensure that we approve that quickly, and we have done so. The last thing, and then I'll hand it back to you, Mike. The department used to, in that instance, take between about 100 and 150 days to approve a public report. In the last 5-6 years, and since Commissioner Lowe was in at the department, we approve those public reports in about 2 to 3 days. So the timeliness and the philosophy of knowing your customer, knowing that we serve Arizona's real estate licensees through the timely resolution of the items that we receive is the height of importance for what we do. Commissioner Lowe's priority, and it's my priority as well to be efficient.
And you also oversee all the education and
That's right.
instructor licensing, and you obviously refer a lot over to the administrators of the school to be the supervisory person for that. So you guys don't have to get your hands too dirty into what they're teaching, but you also even implemented the monitor program to make sure that the training was appropriate to what the outlines that were approved are. So I think, from that perspective, and we haven't even gotten into the other licensing things you guys do as well. I mean, it's not just, real estate per se, but, a lot of things going on down at the department right now.
So as far as consumers complaining to the Department of Real Estate regarding licensees, what are some of the common mistakes that we are making as licensees? And not saying we have nefarious motives, but a lot of mistakes that we make just come with being naive and or not being aware, and then with that has COVID added an element to it, and how's that changed the Department of Real Estate?
Yeah, Mike, that's a really good question. So through our complaint process, again, when we receive a complaint into the department, we want those complaints to be signed, and we want them to provide all documentation of what happened so that we can look into that fully. But I made a couple notes in preparation for that, thinking that was going to be a really important question. One of the high, and we have lots of stats around what we see that we track month to month. Glad to share a slide deck that you can put out to agents on this. But just off the cuff, we receive many complaints around disclosures not being made that are perceived by a prospective purchaser to be significant. Whether it's a material issue or within that, between licensees, between agents, that there was something that was left out within there. That's something that we receive a lot of. I did make a note. One issue that we received the other day was around an agent who left a premises and didn't lock the doors. And when they come to the department, we fully investigate that. That's a matter that's open, so I won't comment on that too far. But again, there are we receive just about everything that comes in. We receive a lot of complaints around paying referral fees to unlicensed individuals, around compensation, contractual issues that come in. But overall, just questions that agents have around there being a strife within a transaction between agents where there's conflict that can't be resolved. And we often refer those individuals, have you talked to your broker about this? The first thing that happens is come to the department and the department to get involved and solve the issue. But have you talked with your broker for a resolution that's there too? And oftentimes they say, no, I haven't. So they'll call Dwayne for some help there. Then around just the COVID situation, I would say that just like many other entities, we do receive a lot of interaction where we just will respond, can you please just be nice to each other? Or that's the prevailing feeling is just that it's a very tight market out there with lots of pressure, and everybody's moving at the speed of business, which we understand, but also just the speed of just how everything has really evolved. So We have just as a department, we have about 25, 26 employees, which do work from some work hybrid, come into the office and not, but that certainly the experience of watching our staff go through some of those same challenges does just paint a picture of what 91,000 professionals are feeling, and understanding the pressure that they feel of why that's being presented the way it is, I think is very important.
Yeah, for sure. So what now, Mike? Mike and I haven't had a chance to go over questions, that we'd like to ask, and Mike is typically the one that will ask majority of the questions. He's good at that. But to one point is everybody sometimes always wants to know, are your opinions that much greater than the predecessor? Or should we be planning on, watching something other than what we've been paying attention to previously under the prior administration? It's really everything's the same, but it's different. So I think there are people that are asking that question.
Sure. And Todd, let me explain. And I wrote down a few of the items. When we developed our strategic plan within our agency for this next fiscal year, I developed that strategic plan with our team in consultation with Commissioner Lowe. But the philosophies that we have within here that I'll read are mine as well, in driving to complete these. So
awesome. From
an agent perspective, to understand that, and as a small team, it's very very apparent what programs we put together in the philosophy of that. Running our agency like a business through our Arizona management system that was designed by Governor Ducey to really, like I said, operate like a business, but be timely in what you do. Approve a regular original license in a day because of technology when statute allows 60. Approve a public report in 2 days when statute allows 100 days. Approve an education application in 1 to 3 days if it's complete. That's in there when statute gives you 45 days as an example. So those items around timeliness, around what we do is incredibly important and will continue. Other things on our strategic plan, for the vision of the department, providing excellent customer service. I had an opportunity to share with you that we implemented a phone call center. Agents that call our phone call center, thank you for giving us the feedback that you have. That was a solution to a challenge where if, Mike, you call in to the department and we don't answer the phone, you go to voicemail and then you're waiting to know when is someone going to call me back. So we uplined all of the top reasons that people call and gave the answers right there and said, if you still want to talk to somebody, press this number. But that resolves a lot of issues.
Okay. What are some of the things that you're focused on, or you're excited to roll up your sleeves and
Sure.
and Commissioner Lowe, she's a fantastic commissioner. We had a great working relationship. When I say we, West USA, and she did a lot of good stuff for us as licensees, and really to protect the public. But she had her things that she was focused on. What are the things that you're focused on that we can expect from you to really kind of get in there and make things better?
Sure. No, it's a great question, Mike. So I would say that from the onset, I think that there are tremendous opportunities in streamlining some of the forms and processes that we have developed in education, for instance, that have become somewhat cumbersome, both from an internal approval standpoint and from an external submitting that to the department. I think there's opportunity in looking at that. Looking at some of the things that we have done over time, just because we've always done that, where there may be a better way to do that. Our overall mission has not changed in protecting the public in their real estate transaction, and that will be our focal point to ensure that we're reviewing things from that lens. But from a practical standpoint, we need to understand what the conditions are out there and communicate what the department is doing more often and consistently, and listen and hear what are some of the challenges.
And that was and consistently, not inconsistently. Right?
And consistently.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that was kind of. I just was like, okay, I wanted just for those listeners that might be in their car getting a skip signal or something. I just want to make sure that they got that
that right?
Consistency and fairness in what we do at the department is of paramount importance.
What are the things that the public is up in arms about? Because obviously, you know, a
That's a
lot
good
of the general
question.
public's coming, you know, will come to you guys, as far as you guys, the Department of Real Estate, and problems that they're having with the way that real estate agents, licensees,
Beautiful.
realtors behave themselves. I know one of the things, because I'm knee deep in it. There's this movement to do everything that we can to completely ban short-term rentals. And I don't know whether that is your department is where consumers would go to, but what are some other things that are bothering consumers and on consumers' minds that they're looking for changes?
Sure. So, and another great question, Mike. I'd say from a short-term rental perspective, that's something that the department hears about in the sense of receiving a complaint where they want to know, is this entity licensed? Do they need to be licensed? And in Arizona, there's statute says that if it's a short-term rental, 30 days or less, a real estate license is not required. So that's a prevailing conversation at a local level. I think every city is handling that differently or may have different perspectives of that. And then entering into just the HOA perspective of which HOAs don't allow short-term rentals or we don't really have anything to say in that policy discussion, but we do remain and have remained aware of that. I'd say from another perspective that we hear from the public, right now we have heard a lot about wholesaling, also known as warehousing, where a member of the public who may not be in the best financial status within their property may say, I was approached by an individual. I thought that they had a real estate license. I thought that this was, it was clear to me that I was just selling my home. That wholesaler or that warehouse company purchases the home as a principal, holds on to it, and then will sell it again, do a double escrow essentially, and they'll do that take the equity. That's not necessarily something that is not legal in Arizona, but it's certainly from a consumer standpoint could lead to questions around, I didn't really understand what I was entering into. And then on just an overall perspective that we hear about, people interacting with the department from the perspective of, I can't get a hold of the real estate professional that I'm working with.
Wow.
Or, they aren't responding to me. We hear that every once in a while. And when I spoke down in Tucson a few weeks ago, it was a similar perspective. And I think some of that may have to do with just the conditions of how busy everyone is just
well, that would lead to the other situation, whereas I submit an offer on said property, and I'm sure my offer is one of 20, and we tend to get frustrated with that listing agent because they won't even get back to us to say that our offer wasn't accepted.
Right.
And typically for me, the agents that complain the most about it are agents that aren't taking listings.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, it's hard, and I get it. So I have a lot more grace. But as a listing agent, what obligations do I have to communicate with offers that I receive?
It's a really good point. So that's another one. Present multiple offers. When you receive multiple offers that you're presenting, each one of those offers, and even to the point of you're required as a real estate licensee to hold on to that offer for a year. If it does go into an escrow period, you need to hold that offer for 5 years. So having that documentation as a licensee, when there is a complaint that's filed at the department to say, no, here it is, and here's what happened, and you have a note in your transaction file. Very, very important point.
Yeah, no, well, most of that is most agents don't even know that they have to have their own file. Most of the time they think the broker is the one that's supposed to have the file, and which they are, but an agent is supposed to keep their own files, accurate files, and be able to produce them when asked by a regulatory service in Arizona. But a department came out with Substantive Policy 2005.13 way back, obviously in 2005, and it dealt with, the commissioner saying, hey, there was a need to establish that there really is a fiduciary pattern out there that realtors should observe. And, our 428-1101 duties to clients is that special child that has been anointed to act in that philosophy. And then, of course, 322153, your rights to suspend, deny, and revoke a license, fail, put them on probation or any of those kinds of things. So that being said, going back to, kind of what we're talking about, we see a lot of agents who and again, whether it's intentional or out of neglect, that's in the law as well, those words. But I mean, hold all offers to be presented Tuesday at 2 p.m. and somebody submits an offer on Friday, and this isn't a investigation type question that I'm going to demand, but I'm just kind of working through it with you. And is it reasonable? It says that all our 428-1101C says that all agents shall act expeditiously in performance of those services required of a license, and whether it's intentional or neglect, they still have to do it. So I'm looking at that kind of a thing, hold all offers till Tuesday, as a intentional one, because obviously they're using it as a strategy with the consumer. If an agent puts an offer in on Friday and their time for acceptance happens to be Friday night, they don't want to play that, I'm going to hold my offer till Tuesday. Well, the agent the listing agent would have a responsibility to expeditiously perform, which might mean, and again, not to get too much into the weeds, but
you're there.
Am I already?
Yeah.
But the fact is that the time that's listed in the terms of acceptance, say it was 9 o'clock on Friday night, so they gave them time to review it, but it's not Tuesday. To Mike's point, the argument is sometimes we're not even sure if the agent even did their due diligence and actually presented it, which of course the code helps us a little bit with. Mm-hmm. But so can someone take an application like that says must expeditiously perform all acts, and in the terms of conditions that they've signed up for, it says that they're going to present all offers in a timely manner. Wouldn't timely manner mean according to the contract? I mean, that's really all I'm asking, from that perspective.
It's a good question, and there are lots of examples where statute and in our rules, and then we develop those substantive policy statements to try to provide some clarification around what does that mean, and how is the department interpreting that?
Right.
Where it'll say reasonable. Well, reasonable is reasonable. In advertising, clear and prominent is clear and prominent. What does that mean? So we hear that a lot in a lot of instances. I'll just generally say that as these issues come in, they're case by case, and we look at them, and we have what's called aggravating and mitigating circumstances that we look at and say, was the consumer harmed here? What was the impact? What was the intent? What happened in this situation? And I think that we can apply rational judgment, be reasonable, and find a resolution to that. So I don't think that answers your question entirely, but there are several instances where we're presented with what is this situation, and how do we present a resolution in a way that's fair.
As time comes to an end, I think one of the most important questions on everybody's mind, because the common question that we as agents are getting, especially from buyers, is I want to wait. I want to see what's going to happen to the market. I'm anticipating property values to drop, or I'm anticipating some sort of market crash. And not to get political, but it's one of the things that I appreciate about Governor Ducey is the fact that he's run business, and he's had businesses. He's been successful in the business. So he comes to the governor's seat with that kind of background. So the advantage that you have is you get to work with the governor, and you get to work with his team and his economic team, and I'm sure you read reports and so forth. What are we doing as a state to ensure, or how much confidence do we have? And I know you're not an economist, but to ensure that what happened in 2007 to 2009 doesn't happen again, and how confident is the governor's office that we're good?
Sure. No, and I appreciate that question. And Mike, even though that's not something that I'm really well versed in as an economist, that's something that I know is on my mind and is on everyone's mind. The one I just want to address first from the perspective of the governor's experience in business and enterprise and all of that, and how humbling it is to get an appointment to this position as commissioner from a governor like that, and feeling that the contributions that I've made and we've made as a department to an industry like the real estate industry in Arizona that is such a large contributor to Arizona's economy is so humbling and a lot of responsibility within that to listen to and have these types of conversations here, and why they're always welcome, because this is the pulse of Arizona real estate. So I wish that I had a crystal ball to say. I know that within the department's purview, we will continue to do everything that we do and do it right. So when there's a sliver of we do our job and get out of the way, and let the real estate industry do its work. But Governor Ducey enacted a bill passed called out-of-state license recognition, if a few years ago, and we were diligent in implementing that program, and we have approved about 500 licenses for individuals that have moved to Arizona, hold a real estate license in another state, have gone through the education in another state, passed all the tests that are required there, come to Arizona, become residents of Arizona, and then they pass an exam within the state. We're seeing a lot of individuals that are seeing Arizona as an opportunity to make a living, raise their family, retire, and that's the governor's mantra as well. So he says it much better than I do. But certainly Arizona is seen as an opportunity to work. I haven't heard that there's a crash coming. I hear that 2022 looks very bright, if not brighter than 2020.
Well, I'm not saying, we're not hearing a crash is coming. It's just our clients who are uneducated and aren't really following this. They're just following national storylines that don't necessarily represent Arizona. Right. And so we as agents have to be able to combat that and have intelligent conversations with our consumers to let them know, well, no, we're not anticipating a market crash.
And Mike, to that extent, and Todd, I would say that in each agent's interaction with a prospective client, to talk about what you do to get your real estate license, what education you go through. You participate in discussions like this. You are well versed in the market. You hear from all of your ancillary service providers. You're getting market updates. You go to the mastermind events. You hear from other professionals about what really is going on. Clients need to hear, I would imagine, that sort of certainty around you as a real estate professional. This is a profession. You know what you're talking about in representation of them.
Confidence and validity, right?
That's right.
All right, Commissioner, thank you.
Wow.
And congratulations on your
Thanks.
new role. Appreciate it. And we look forward to a long standing relationship, and more than welcome to come back at any time. All right. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Go out. Quote of the day.
Yeah.
Measure. Don't look at me like that. Well, he's not wrong. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. Albert Einstein. Appreciate everybody joining us. Go out and sell a home.